When you see, if you notice that the fourth thread, so this is the lower hook, this is the fourth thread, if you notice the fourth thread sort of pulls off the lower hook, the hook that goes towards the right side, it just falls off, is no longer in this hole. One of the reasons for this may be because when you put the thread in place, maybe it was not actually put properly on this small bar or guide. Let me just play the video and show you something. So maybe just a thread installation issue actually. So here at this moment I'm just passing the thread, so basically the fourth thread must go underneath the third thread, so goes in underneath the hook here, the top hook, in this hole, in this space, must go there. So this is what I'm doing now. I'm just passing the thread correctly underneath the upper hook, as I show with that Q-tip. Okay, so right now I place the fourth thread underneath here towards the rear of the machine, and now only at this moment I'm going to place the fourth thread on this small guide. Right? I think it's the best way to do it. Some people, what would they do is just pass the thread here on this guide and then go ahead and put it on the small guide here, and then go ahead and put it in the small hook and to the rear machine. I think that's a risk doing that way. What I prefer doing is get the fourth thread, passing in the guide here underneath these two guides on this guide, and then directly I just jump over this step. I go directly, pass it into the hook towards the rear of the machine. I keep it there. I just keep my left hand, you don't see it here, my left hand, it's keeping the end of the fourth thread towards the rear of the machine. Make sure it's long enough. And now the last step for threading the fourth thread is passing it here. So really I leave this at the end, and I'll explain in a moment why. You will see why. Right now in the video I'm just going to place, this is the fourth thread, right? It's already in the hook here towards the rear machine. Now I'm going to place it here on the tiny guide, and I'll explain something important. So I put my finger on it. Now it's sitting on this guide, but you will see it folds from there. So the thread is right there, but it actually does not clip in this position. You see the thread goes like this, then goes back down. It sits really, it does not clip in here. It's just slightly hanging behind this, the tip of this square piece here. Unfortunately I cannot zoom. You will see at some point it falls back. It did fall back. That's how light it stays in there, and you need to pay attention to this. So what I like to do at this point, at the moment when I place the thread here, I put tension on the tensioner well on the fourth thread. I put some tension, put it to 7-8, a strong tension, so basically the thread cannot slide down. I put tension here up on the machine, and then once the thread it's kind of hanging slightly here, I also put tension. I pull on the thread gently, not with force. I pull on the thread at the rear of the machine with my left hand, which you don't see here. And at that moment, basically I put tension all along the fourth thread, all along the fourth thread. I just pull at the end of the thread, and again the tensioner also keeps it from sliding. So you will see at some point this, now it kind of hangs free, no tension, but the moment when I pull on it here at the rear of the machine, you will see it gets a tension on it. Look at the thread here, it will get tension, and it will get straight right now. You see now it's tensioned, so you don't see it behind the machine, but you see now it's making only straight lines. So it has tension on it on this point, and that is important. Why? Because if it doesn't have tension on it, when you are going to push this guide towards the left side, it may just fall from there at some point. It may not stay here. if it doesn't have tension, if it's loose. So with tension on it, I push it in there, and look what happens now. When I'm going to push, you need to push this thing all the way to the left until it stops. No need to force on it. If you look closely, it has a small arrow here, and this metal piece here also has an arrow. At some point you will see, perhaps in the video, you need to match the two arrows. And when the two arrows match with some tension in the thread, when the thread will reach deep inside here, it will make a faint click. Why? Because at that point the thread will actually clip. It's inside, deep inside the machine, will get stuck on a guide which is hidden here. It's impossible to see that guide. So there is another guide here which will capture the thread and keep it in place if the thread has tension when you push this piece, and if it stays there. So what happens, you will see I push this piece towards the left. Notice again the thread has tension on it. I will push it now all the way, it's not yet done. Notice again the thread has tension. I keep it with my left hand. You see perhaps here the thread, it's straight. I'm not sure which one is it. Okay, I push it all the way. I think this is the most left position. No, this is the most left position. You see, okay. So what I did here, I pushed the piece. I think this is the alignment arrow. So you have an arrow here and another arrow here. When the two meet, it means this piece is all the way to the left, and the thread has already been captured by the hidden guide. So now what I'm going to do is pull back this piece. You don't need to do it, but I just want to show you the moment you pull this piece again at the right, all the way to the right, you will see the thread is no longer on this piece, and it's actually staying in there with the tension that I'm putting on it. It stays hooked or clipped on an inner hidden guide, and that's what must happen. You will see I pull this piece back, and basically I show in the video that the thread is no longer here. It goes all the way inside somewhere underneath the needle plate, and it stays hooked in there, and that's what must happen. If it doesn't, if it comes back here, put it again on this piece, put tension, move it to the left, and listen for that click. Perhaps I will play the video with sound as well, so you hear that click part. So again, right now when the piece is again out, the thread is no longer on it. Now this is the normal position. You see perhaps is not, unfortunately there's not a lot of light. You see the arrow, we will see it on your machine. So again, you see the thread stays with tension because I still keep some tension on it. Now once it clips inside on the hidden guide, it's okay to release the tension on the thread. It's no longer needed to keep the tension on the thread, because why? Basically, if you want to pull on the thread from here to remove it from that clip, is not going to work. If you want to remove the thread at this point, you will have to basically pull from here, and it's going to slide, keep sliding onto that guide until it reaches the end. So it will slide out like this, but you cannot pull like a loop from this guide inside here just on the side. It's not going to detach from the guide. So all that guide here, it's really keeping it in place. Again, if it doesn't, what happens is if you don't lock or clip the guide, the thread on this guide inside here, it will look like it stays in place on the hook, but after a few stitches it will just basically pull back, if you want, from inside this hook. It will just pull back, and at some moment you will notice there is no longer thread. The thread is no longer passing through this hook. That's because it didn't attach correctly to the inner hidden guide when you pushed this piece in place with some tension on the thread. That's the explanation. This is the reason I'm making this video. Let me just try to play back perhaps the moment when I clip the thread in place. Let me just put So now I'm going to capture, you will hear the voice in my video. Let's play back.
Sort of stays in there somehow.
And pay attention the moment when I push this piece with the thread in place. You will hear a faint click.
Right here, behind.
Here I explain, just go faster.
It's the correct tension.
So now I'm putting tension. Look how I put tension in the thread. Right here. This is it. This is what you must do with my left hand. You see my thumb here? It's pulling on the thread gently. Hear the click now. Listen. And you see also when you keep tension on the thread, this is my thumb, the piece will just feel normally, because there is tension, will feel slightly resistance to be moved to the left. That's because I keep tension in thread. Not a lot of tension, but just enough so it stays here, so it doesn't fall from. So now when a piece goes all the way to the left, listen for the click inside. It's a very faint click, but it's possible to hear it.
Hard matching, and you will hear a click, and that's the moment when the thread is actually captured inside in another guide. You will see in a moment. So a bit of tension here behind the thread. I pull on it a little bit. You heard that click. Now I keep the thread from behind, and if I pull back...
Okay, so perhaps you heard the click. And again, the thread, if you don't clip it correctly, if it doesn't get hooked on the hide and guide, it will sew for a moment. It will sew, I don't know, 1-2 inches of stitches. For a few moments it will sew until the thread, what the thread will, the moment we will sew, if it doesn't clip on this hide and guide, what will happen is the thread will start pulling back from this hook slowly as you sew, right? So the whole length here at the rear of the machine of the thread will just go back, actually slide backwards on this hook, and obviously at some point it will detach the thread. The end of the thread will reach the hole and will just fall from there. So we will take, maybe, I don't know, depends how much you sew. You may be able to sew maybe for a few inches until you notice the thread is no longer hooking here, passing through the hook. That's because it didn't attach on the guide inside the machine, the hide and guide.